Hello everyone, a very good morning to all of you. Today I would like to start with high voltage DC transmission. In this lecture particularly, we will discuss evolution of HVDC transmission system. The main objectives of this lecture are the following. After completion of this lecture, you are able to understand the evolution of power system, understand the evolution of HVDC transmission system, limitations of existing HVAC transmission system, and the advantages of going for HVDC transmission. So we'll see one by one. Before going to know the evolution of HVDC transmission system, we must know the evolution of power system. The commercial use of electricity started in the late 1870s in USA. In the year 1882, Thomas Edison started the first electric power system, which was a DC power system. It consists of a generator, cable, fuse, and a load. So it was a very small system, supplying power to 59 customers over a radius of 1.5 kilometers. Even though it was a small system, it consists all the equipment that a power system needs. So even though it was a small system, it has all the equipment that a power system consists. So later, the limitations become apparent from 1886 with the DC power system. The main limitations are high losses and voltage drop. So in order to transmit to our longer distances, we need to step up the voltage so that we can reduce the losses. How we can reduce the losses when we are stepping up the voltage? See, for particular power means I'll fix my power constant. If I raise my voltage, automatically current falls down, means current will reduce. So in the I square R losses, if current reduces, I square R losses will be reduced. Why? Because the resistance is constant once we design the line. So in order to reduce the losses, we have to step up the voltage. It is not possible in DC transmission. So later, transformers and AC distribution with 150 lamps developed by William Stanley of Westinghouse. Even before that, Nikola Tesla has developed polyphase systems and had patents of generators, transformers, motors, and transmission lines. But Tesla don't have much money to start his own business. So all the patents of Tesla were purchased by Westinghouse. So now there are two power systems. One is operating with DC and another one is operating with AC. In the year 1889, first AC transmission system in USA between Walmety Falls and Portland was started. It was a single phase system transmitting at a voltage of 4 kV and over a distance of 21 kilometers. Now there was two systems, one is operating at DC and another one is operating at AC. So there was a controversy between whether the industry should standardize AC or DC. Anyhow, Edison advocated for DC, but Westinghouse advocated AC. For a period of time, AC won the race and gradually the DC phased out. So earlier frequencies were like this. Earlier people used to operate at different frequencies. Later, in order to interconnect the power system, people started standardizing 50 Hz and 60 Hz. All the Asian countries, including India, most of the Asian countries they standardized 50 Hz, and USA, Canada standardized 60 Hz. Now we'll see evolution of HVDC transmission system. So a DC HVDC transmission was designed by French engineer René Thierry when the AC system was in their infancy. In their infancy means at the beginning of the AC system, René Thierry started HVDC transmission system. At least 11 Thierry systems were installed in Europe between 1880 and 1911. In that, the prominent was Maritas to Lyons. It was transmitting power of 4.3 megawatt at 57.6 kV. In this transmission system, DC generators were used and the constant current mode of operation was used. But later, all the Thierry systems were dismantled due to so many limitations with this HVDC system. But later, the development of mercury arc valves, again people started thinking of HVDC transmission systems. In the year 1954, the first HVDC transmission system was installed between Sweden mainland and Gotland Island and by a cable. Why people started thinking of HVDC when AC system was already existing? See, when already one system is existing, we are going for another system means there may be some limitation with the existing system, or there may be a particular application with the incoming system. So due to some limitations or due to some applications, we'll go for HVDC transmission system. We'll see why they started in 1954 a HVDC transmission system between Sweden and Gotland Island. In the next slide, we'll see. See, if you observe in this slide, this is the Sweden mainland. This is the Sweden mainland, and this is the Gotland Island. See, this Gotland Island is a part of Sweden, but this island was located in the mid of Baltic Sea. There was a huge demand in the Gotland Island, but the generating capacity in the Gotland Island was less. So there was pressure in the Sweden government by the people of Gotland Island that they want power at cheaper price. At that time, the power at Gotland Island was almost twice that of the power in the Sweden mainland. So Sweden government started thinking transmitting power from Sweden mainland to this Gotland Island. If they want to transmit power, they must use cable, lay a cable from Sweden mainland to Gotland Island. But the shortest distance from Sweden mainland to Gotland Island is 60 miles. 60 miles means almost 98 kilometers. So if I want to lay a AC cable from Sweden mainland to Gotland Island, it is not feasible. Why? Because there was a restriction, we cannot use AC cable beyond 50 kilometers, but the distance from Sweden mainland to Gotland Island is almost 98 kilometers. Now people thinking of HVDC transmission system by laying a HVDC cable. That's why they started installing HVDC transmission from Sweden mainland to Gotland Island. So we'll see the limitations with the existing HVAC transmission in this slide we'll discuss. These are the limitations with the HVAC transmission. First one is reactive power loss. What is reactive power loss? See, it may be AC or DC, there will be I square R losses, PL. These losses will be there in both AC and DC. But in case of AC transmission system, this reactive power losses are there. Means I square into XL minus V square by XC. See, these are the reactive losses, reactive power losses that are there in HVAC transmission system. But there is no reactive power loss in DC system. Why? Because there is no inductive and reactive part in the DC transmission system. Second criteria is stability. Stability is one of the main concern in case of HVAC transmission system. If you, as we all know, if we draw the P delta curve, this is delta load angle and this is real power. Actually, the real power formula for synchronous is E into V by XS sin delta. So once the line is designed, this XS will not change. But this E, V and delta, this real power is depends on this sin delta. So if I draw the curve between P and delta, it will be like this. So this is the real power will be maximum at this delta. This is delta max. So at this delta M, we will get maximum real power. This is P max. So if I go beyond this delta max, what will happen is, see, I am increasing the delta. See, for example, if I consider delta here, in this portion, if I increase delta from delta 1 to delta 2, let it be delta 1, let it be delta 2. If I increase from delta 1 to delta 2, this is P1. At this delta 2, let it be, this is P2. So P1 to P2 power is increasing. But if I go here, for example, if I consider here, if I consider here, let it be delta 3 and let it be delta 4. So in this region, if I increase delta, the power is decreased from here to here. So it is unwanted. Means what? If I goes beyond this delta max, the system is losing its stability. So there is no such stability criteria in case of DC transmission. Why? Because there is no angle delta here. Mainly the stability is associated with synchronous machine, but in case of DC we won't have any delta here. So there will be no stability criteria in case of HVDC transmission system. Another concern was current carrying capacity. See, for example, this is the conductor. In case of DC, there is no charging effect. So whatever the current that was load taken by the load current will be the current carrying capacity. So in case of AC, the total current must be this charging current plus this load current. So let it be, this is the load current IL. This is charging current IC. Then I is equal to IL plus IC. So what will happen is the current carrying capacity is reduced in case of less in case of HVAC transmission when compared to HVDC transmission. Why? Because see, it has to carry current of both charging current and this load current, but there is no such thing charging effect in case of DC. Another concern is skin and Faraday effect. In case of DC, the current is uniformly distributed throughout the conductor, whereas in case of AC, most of the current is confined to skin depth of the conductor. So because of this, there will be some loss in the system. This is called skin effect. Faraday effect. Under lightly load or no load conditions, sometimes the receiving end voltage is more than the sending end voltage. That is called Faraday effect. In the case of AC, there is power flow control is not possible. See, the skin and Faraday effect will not occur in case of DC. Why? Because there is no frequency, and the current is uniformly distributed throughout the conductor. The Faraday effect will not also there in case of HVDC. Why? Because there is no charging effect in case of DC. In case of AC transmission, power flow control is not possible. Anyhow, nowadays, due to the flexible AC transmission systems, there is a possibility of controlling power flow also in case of AC. So, in HVDC transmission, power flow control is possible. So, I would like to stop here. Thank you.